Greetings, dear friends. I trust you're well. Thank you so much for joining us here today. It's really lovely to see you, and it's good that you have made this time for us. My name is Ami, and I trust that each of you is really, really well again. So, you know, more and more people are coming to realize and to know that we are living a connected existence in a connected universe, which means that each and every single one of us is connected. And that's part of the reality, or that is a reality, that what affects one affects all. And this is so clearly and so beautifully, powerfully demonstrated by the selfless activities of the Mohanji Foundation in the world, inspired by all the work that the foundation is doing, inspired by the founding father himself, and that is Mohanji. The Mohanji Foundation is indeed about touching lives. And over the last 20 years, tens upon tens of thousands of people have been positively impacted by the activities of the foundation. And this is not only restricted to just our fellow human beings, but to all life. When we think of all life, we are including the animals, the bird and sea life, the environment, the plant, and the trees, etc. So, just really recently, in February 2024, um, at the recently concluded Global Summit, the Foundation's Global Summit, Mohanji announced another dimension to its platforms, and a very important one at that. And it's called the Global Council. It consists of 9 members. And now to introduce you, it gives me such immense pleasure to bring you the first of our members, not necessarily in hierarchical order. It gives me great pleasure to say hello and welcome to Madhusudan Rajagopalan. Madhu, welcome.
Hi, Ami. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you
having me
also
here.
for being here. Are you looking good? Are you well?
I'm very well. How about you?
Good. Thank you so much. So, Mother, diving straight into the activities of the Mohanji Foundation globally. I mean, the Global Impact Report was released during the Global Summit, which I spoke about just now in the
Right.
intro. The scope, the breadth, and the growth of the foundation is beyond phenomenal, beyond extraordinary. Now, where you are concerned, also now you also not just a council member now, you're also the CEO of the foundation. What would you highlight as most significant over these years where the foundation is concerned, its activities?
Right. Thank you, Ami. I think that's a great question. Uh, the Mohanji platform report that you alluded to, that is a compendium of the impact by all the Mohanji platforms, not just Mohanji Foundation, which of course is the mother foundation we're talking about, but also ACT Foundation, AmmuCare, World Consciousness Alliance, and the various other organizations that Mohanji has founded over the years, each with a distinct purpose, and ultimately all of them are serving humanity, all beings, Mother Earth herself. So it's about a collective transformation, as Monji says, shifting mankind to kind humans. That's like the short statement that he set as an objective for all the work that we're doing. Monji Foundation itself, I think, has been over a dramatic transformation over the last few years. As you know, it all started organically. Monji didn't start out with all these organizations in place. It started with just a very clear vision, and he quit his corporate career in 2012, now about almost 12 years back, to jump headlong and full time into serving the world. And since then, Mohanji Foundation, we had organizations in various countries registered. Then we had a central organization registered in Switzerland. So today we're registered in 18 countries as Mohanji Foundation, I'm saying. While our presence of activities is in more than 40 countries, and when we look at the website stats and so on, there's more than 90 countries where some activities, some meditations are happening. We have meditations in more than 40 languages. We have books in almost 15 books and blogs in 15, 20 languages. So it's actually quite a quite a very, very large network of presence that has been built over the years. So if you ask me, the first biggest highlight is the fact that just from clear vision and a pure intent, starting from Mohanji's deep intent and his personal desire to make this world a better place. All of this has taken shape and come to the point where we are having this discussion today. So it's just the clarity of vision and selfless service and dedication has led to all of this. To me, that's, I think, the number one highlight. How the drive and passion, if someone really puts into it, it can make a huge difference to the world. That's, I think, the first highlight. The second one, I think, is in terms of how the evolution has happened. It's it started with disparate organizations, people committing themselves with their passion and with their time, and over time that has been knitted into a global organization. So now we're like a conglomerate, except that our objectives are humanitarian, our objectives are charitable. So in that sense, we are a multinational corporation with completely altruistic motives, and almost 98% run by volunteers. Maybe there's a few people we hire for certain things, but all the core functional members, including yourself, myself, all of us are here because we love doing this and we really connect to the purpose and to what Monji stands for. So how that can lead to something so large and so impactful, as you've seen in the impact report, to me that is another something that is I find remarkable every time I sit back and think about it. I think the third is just in terms of the breadth and scope of impact we've had. Some of the stats are in the impact report, which is on mohanji.org and can be downloaded. But you look at what platforms Mohanji has created. We are doing more than 650,000 meals we fed people in just the year 2023. 365 days, almost 700,000 meals that have been donated. So that's not a small number. Almost 2,000 meals a day we're giving across the world. 400 tons of food we have donated over the year. You just look at it that a year has 365 days. It is a staggering statistic, the kind of impact that we have. So that's one dimension. That's just a selfless service. Then there's so many people that are getting transformed in their lives through Maitri, through the various Monji teachings, through connecting to Acharya programs, through the programs Monji is connecting. So there's people's lives getting transformed. So that's another dimension. There's revival of culture, through the Himalayan Academy of Traditions. So you have dance, you have yoga, you have traditional martial arts. So there's a whole revival of the old ancient traditions, which are all good for us and which are good for connecting with ourselves and for good for connecting to yourself. That's the third dimension. Then there's youth, there's the music and the entertainment field, bringing that to actually uplift positivity through the World Consciousness Alliance. So every platform you take, I mean, the kind of scope and breadth that we have that Monji has created and people are serving on this, it's just remarkable. I think in 2023, where this is all kind of culminating is that it has reached a point where it's not just a large organization, but it's getting recognition. So as you know, in January, Mohanji Foundation and hence Mohanji was awarded the Global Compassionate Leader Award as a lifetime achievement from the ex-president of India at the BRICS CCI summit in January. Shortly after that, the Pacific University in Udaipur conferred an honorary doctorate on Mohanji in recognition of his humanitarian service. So I think that the point is coming where all this work that has happened organically, starting from nothing to building to now, it's also getting recognition at a global level. And the other thing I will say in terms of significance is now it's not just people and volunteers and impact, but it's also the spaces. Now we have 8 countries, 2 more or 3 more have been added. There's 10 countries now where we have our own spaces, Monji Centers of Benevolence. Many of them, 5 of them were inaugurated last year. More will get inaugurated this year. So these are all places for transformation, people for connect to themselves, people where it's a lifestyle of respect, a lifestyle of non-violence, a lifestyle of peace. So our spaces are getting created where the teachings that Mohanji has been propagating are embedded in the land and in the lifestyle. So, I think that's the third part. The last thing I would say is, and the formation of the council is a sign of that. I think we are now graduating to the point where what started with the vision of one man, that's Mohanji, is now settling down into systems and procedures by which this whole thing can serve generations and generations of people. So I think the procedures are coming into place, which is kind of maturing and consolidation of whatever has been built. So when I think about it, I think this is the transition we've been through. So we are at the cusp of what could be a very, very explosive phase of growth to come in the year in the coming years. That's what I see.
Thank you, Mohanji. Mohanji, he's here. So
Welcome.
thank you, Madhu, for that. For that, I just would like to underscore the bit about the volunteers that you mentioned. That many, many, many of the platforms, they are active volunteers involved, and these volunteers, they do it because, firstly, they understand the need and the importance of the work, and that is serving others, is serving themselves in the long run, right? And what they have, what I have also found is that everyone that's really connecting so closely to the activities of the foundation, they have an innate understanding now of what Mohanji means by, that we are serving that our religion, the religion is humanity, the
Right.
philosophy is ahimsa. Would you care to elaborate on that a bit?
No, I think we time and again we call them platforms. That we call them for a reason because there's two sides to it. There's the people that are the beneficiaries who we are serving in a way, but equally the people that are actually involved in the activity, which is people like ourselves, we are also beneficiaries because in the process of cleansing up, I mean, in the process of serving others and serving the platform, there's a lot of cleansing and recognition of the fact that everybody is connected and the world is not such a big place and we have limited time. So how do you make it better? So I think that essence people start realizing as they volunteer. Monji says that his religion, the only religion he actually believes is really relevant in the world is the religion of humanity. If you cannot understand that everybody is interconnected and you can't actually harm another person without at some level harming yourself, or for that matter you can't harm nature, you can't harm another being without at some level harming some aspect of yourself, because there is this deep interconnectedness. So that's why humanity is what is the path that he walks. And as he says, the method is ahimsa. So how do you ensure that you're actually serving humanity? By practicing nonviolence in every respect, in thoughts, in words, and deeds. So when this becomes like your operating mode, then your tendency to harm, your tendency to get agitated, everything starts settling down, because ultimately you start realizing that if you are fully accepting of yourself and if you're fully settled in yourself, then there's no there's no separation at that level. For many of us, including myself, this is still concept that I understand. But the point of doing all of this is it's a journey where you get to actually experiencing it as a reality. So that's how this whole journey is, which is what is very interesting. I don't know if I answered your question, but that's what I feel about the topic.
Thank you very much. In fact, you more than answered the question, Madhu. So, let's come to the council itself now, the formation of the council, right, which was announced at the Global Summit and activated then at that propitious time on the 23rd of February by Mohanji. So, let's look at the relevance of this council.
Sure. So the idea of the council actually took root a few months back. It was first implemented in Amuke Charitable Trust around the end of 2023, beginning of 2024. So what Mohanji's idea is that as a large platform, as someone that is responsible for handling donations and responsible for execution of various humanitarian projects, this should be done as a teamwork in a very democratic manner, because it is a system that should run. It should not be dependent on any one or two or even three individuals. So that's the ethos with which this whole concept has been created. So first was Amuke, then a couple of months later, beginning of February, the same concept was extended to ACT at a global level. And we've been talking about doing this at Mohanji Foundation also. So during the global summit, in the midst of various discussions, this just took shape, and the council was created literally overnight. I mean, as all things with Mohanji, it happened very fast. So we did some all the council members were consulted and asked if this is something they would like to be part of, explain the whole principle and the vision. And we went live on the 23rd of February on Mohanji's birthday. So the significance of it is really that it's now responsible as the top decision making body, the top policy making body at Mohanji Foundation at a global level. So we do have individual country foundations which are responsible for all the activities in their country. So whether it is South Africa or India or Serbia or UK, US, whichever, I mean any of our countries. So you have the local Mohanji Foundation, which is responsible, that is legally registered and accountable for all activities in that country. But we are a network, right? I mean, we are all connected by the same principles. We are connected by the same ethos. We're connected by the same values. How all of that gets disseminated, collated, and kept at the same level across the whole world where Mohanji Foundation is present is meant to be guided and counseled by this Mohanji Foundation Global Council. So it is a collection of people that are all deeply connected to Mohanji and deeply committed to this purpose and meant to work as a team, which is why it's a large group. It's 9 people. It's not just 2 or 3 people, and its construct is meant to be democratic. So even if a couple of people don't agree, topics come up, discussions happen, and we've already started doing that through our internal group on a few matters. Discussions happen, matters are put to vote, and when there is a majority, we kind of agree on what to do and we move forward. So that's the model that we've started working on. And because everyone in the group is quite responsible, quite mature, and also understands Mohanji quite well, I think this is the model that will stay because it is a group of people and the council members, you know, um, can discuss easily. All of us are involved in different aspects of Mohanji Foundation, so there's also an understanding of how the whole system works. So that is the idea that we make it democratic, make a system that can run the whole global setup, so to speak, so that eventually it also outlasts Mohanji. Because Mohanji is not going to be here in physical reality forever. So what happens to how the whole system runs even later? So I think the council is meant to be the answer to to set the system to keep that going for 50, 100 years going.
Yeah, thank you for speaking to us about the non-hierarchical structure of the council. And I must say, I'm so really impressed by the amazing, powerful souls that are represented on this council, and we will get to meet them in the coming weeks. Madhu is the first of the members that we are introducing you to. Simply because he's been there overseeing the growth of the foundation and being in the forefront of running things as CEO of Mohanji Foundation globally. So, Madhu, how do you see yourself integrating into the council as the whole foundation globally then comes up with its vision and purpose?
Right. Well, that's quite simple. I think the council is not meant to oust any office bearer anywhere. It is meant to oversee and guide. So there are country foundations, there are country boards, there are people that are in office. All of them have their jobs. There is an annual plan, there is a vision, everything. Likewise, as CEO, I have certain responsibilities. There are projects that need to be done. There is administration that needs to be taken care of. All of that continues. Now, when I have a question or there's a matter of policy which is not something that has already been dealt with and needs to bubble up to the council, it bubbles up to the council. So instead of asking Mohanji all the questions all the time, now it goes up to the council and the council discusses when we need guidance from Mohanji on certain topics, we will go to Mohanji. Otherwise, all questions that can't be handled at an operating level or at an administrative level, at the CEO level, go to the council. And whatever council can't decide, it goes up to Mohanji. But on day-to-day matters, when people need to function, see, everything doesn't even come to the CEO office, right? Everybody has autonomy. Like a country team has its own job, it has its own autonomy. Where they need guidance on certain matters, they come to the CEO office. Where we are able to guide, we guide. In some cases, if we are not able to and we need guidance from the council because it's a new topic, we go to the council. So it's a collaborative thing. And some of these roles, Ami, is that it's not set in stone because we are also discovering how the whole thing works. But The common thing is that everybody means well. Everybody is connected to the vision and the mission of what Mohanji stands for and what he's trying to establish. We have a pretty deep understanding of that. So, how best you translate that into action and into expansion is what the council is meant to govern or to guide.
So, Madhu, before we come to your own personal story, your unique story that has brought you to this point, I just would like to acknowledge those who are watching on the Mohanji Foundation YouTube channel. If you have any questions that you would like to put through to Madhu, we'll take a few questions, not a whole long list, okay? So whatever question you might have, perhaps that I have not as yet asked Madhu, you are most welcome do so. And we have our dear Samira Mohanji Acharya who is standing by to monitor that on in the chat. You can put your question down in the chat. Also, what I'd like to say is that we spoke about the Global Impact Report. I think each and every one who is connected with humanity and with the principles of ahimsa should have the opportunity of looking at the report. Perhaps we can also have the report link included in in the Mohanji Foundation channel here. Okay, so yes, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So Madhu, your personal story that has brought you to this point, and I have to say, from a personal point of view, and many of us here in South Africa, elsewhere, that you have been collaborating with, connecting with, leading us, guiding us. We wish to say thank you for what you are doing, continuing
Most
to do.
welcome. It is my privilege and
Yeah.
Mohanji's goodness.
Yes, indeed. So what's your story?
This is a short answer you want, right? This is a question that can take hours to answer. Uh, but the short answer to the story is that I connected with Mohanji in 2014. I had a journey of volunteering, which ultimately grew in scope and in shape to the point where, and it kind of my involvement or my growth of involvement is in tandem with how Mohanji Foundation role also expanding. So it eventually got to the point around 2018 where I was in transition in my career, in my professional career, and this conversation with Mohanji happened late 2018, August or so, 2018, and it ended up with the end of the conversation was that I will take up a responsibility in Mohanji Foundation to help um, move the whole platform forward. So that's how I eventually ended up becoming the CEO of Mohanji Foundation. It was a position that was created. It didn't exist before. So the position was created, the office was created, all with Mohanji's guidance and support, of course. And it's been now 5 years, right, since the time that that office was created to kind of support and guide our various country foundations. That's also the time when the global summit started happening. 2018 is when we started doing it. So I think 2018 onwards is when the effort on knitting all the country foundations together and making something really coherent and cohesive has intensified. And that has taken even more intensity when the spaces started. And that has been, again, another big focus for me in this position of CEO and as a disciple of Mohanji to see them come to reality. That's been another large part of the work that has been that is consumed my time over the last 3 years, I would say. So I think the journey is just that this is something that is extremely fulfilling and a great privilege, I would say, to be able to work with Mohanji and also work with all the people that are connected to Mohanji and to see these things take shape is something that I would consider among the most fulfilling or contentment giving things that I have pursued in any professional capacity. Um, but what's also been happening is that the expansion of the foundation is so rapid that it is something that is not possible for one person, even if he's full time or doing two such people, which is why the council is now something that was becoming more and more relevant. A structure like the council was becoming more relevant because you don't want a situation where someone becomes a bottleneck. And why should I be the bottleneck as a CEO? Moonji's pace we know, and he's calibrating his pace based on what the team is able to deliver. So I think the team strengthening is essential for us to do justice to the pace at which the activities need to grow. So I think the council is a right step and a very timely step in being able to cope with just the sheer pace at which things are moving and the expansion that we are seeing. So for me,
Uh,
I think it's a very logical step in the evolution of the foundation. And as always, Monji is right on the dot in terms of taking the initiatives when it is the most appropriate. Which is why the global summit was the best place to actually launch it, right? Because you have all the leaders, the forum is discussing how do we take the things forward. So it was just perfect in terms of how it was executed.
Awesome, Madhu. It's as we now begin to wrap this conversation. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, perhaps that which I may have omitted to ask or have not asked
So,
as yet?
no, I think in terms of the setup of the council, we've covered the main points. Um, my personal story that I can talk very long time on that, on how my life is transformed because of G. Uh, but that's not only to do with the CEO role, right? It's about the connection and how his guidance is transformed every aspect of life. Only thing I would add is that I think as as a council, we have a responsibility to get Mohanji Foundation to be accessible and to reach as many new people as possible, because we know that the world and the level of turbulence in the world is only going to become more and more in the years to come. So Mohanji's teachings and how that can help people has extremely high relevance to the world. And as somebody that has tasted it, it's our job to actually make that available to people. And however we can support all our teams and lay down the structures and methods for people to do this more effectively, I think it would be extremely fulfilling to see that actually happen. You would like to see thousands and thousands of people benefit from everything that Monji has created. So how do we enable that is what we need to focus our efforts.
Well, let alone thousands, Madhu. Already, as I mentioned in my intro, tens upon tens of thousands of people over these last 20 years have benefited in some way, shape, or form from the selfless activities provided by the Mohanji Foundation and by the volunteers. So, what I would also like to say is that add this really, I feel this is an important component for me to actually express this now, is that I have this very strong feeling that this council not only has implications here, but also interdimensionally. Because Monty also speaks about the we are interdimensional beings, and it's an interdimensional universe, etc. So it's not only like restricted here. Who knows? I mean, how expansive and vast this is, universally speaking. So thank you so much for that. I'm just going to ask Samira now if there are any questions on our YouTube channel chat. Samira, if there are any questions, maybe you can bring them forward now.
We don't have any questions as yet, but I will
Okay.
keep you posted. Yes.
Okay, great. So I think people were riveted to what Madhu had to say. Madhu, thank you so much for your time. It really has been with clarity, with vision, purpose, etc. You've really outlined them so clearly. Thank you so very much for that. And
Thank you very
we
much,
will be
Ami. I think it was a very good idea to get this series started. I believe you will be interviewing the rest of the council members also. So I think it would be great to get all perspectives in um,
yes,
and share what everybody
yes.
brings to the table, because we are all ultimately representatives of what Mohanji wants to take to the world. So I think it's a great idea. Thank you for taking the initiative.
Yeah, well, this is all actually, inspired again by the horsepower that is provided by our very own father, teacher, guide, way shower, friend, Mohanji, who has really taken the activities of all the platforms under his supervision to heights that we never even dreamed possible. So thank you so much for that. Thank you again, Madhu. I thank you, Mohanji, for being there always as a pillar of mighty support for all of us and for the world at large. I would also I express my thanks to our dear brothers and sisters who assisted with the technical support, and Nemanja Nedic, as well as Thea Klinkhoff from the M House Media, and our dear Samira Khan, was also Mohanji Acharya here and he is from South Africa. Thank you for your support as well and for monitoring the chat on the Mohanji Foundation channel, YouTube channel. So blessings to you, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. Please remember to leave your good comments, and we bring you the next two. We hope to talk to get to know, and to also give us more information and their perspectives to added dimensions of the council and how they came to be involved, what is their unique story coming to this point. So stay blessed, go well, see you next time. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you.